Good morning and welcome to Ask the Expert. I'm Joe Taylor. This morning, another in the ongoing series of programs presented by the Northwest Regional Key Program for Quality Early Learning. The program, through the Northwest Institute of Research, oversees a grant from the Office of Child Development and Early Learning at the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services and the Department of Education. The goal of the program is to improve the outcomes for young children as they prepare for school. John Poza from the Pennsylvania Key is the host of the program, and he's with us throughout the series. Well, John, who do we have on the line this morning?
Good morning, Joe. This morning we have Kelly Swanson. Kelly is the Communications and Public Policy Director at the Pennsylvania Key. And I'm really excited to have Kelly on the program this morning. She is going to talk with us about the Early Learning GPS, which is a new free interactive web tool and app for families of young children to track their development. And we actually, the GPS stands for Guiding Parents Smoothly, in case people are wondering. So welcome to the show, Kelly.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. I'm glad to finally have you on. You know, you have been so heavily involved in the development of the Early Learning GPS, and it's just an exciting tool for parents to use. It's very easy to use to help in their child's development. Can you give us an idea in a nutshell how this all came about and how it kind of works?
Sure. So we work with the Office of Child Development and Early Learning, and they manage the state-funded and publicly funded early childhood programs in the state. And one of the missions there is to help families to be able to provide the best start for their children. And there's a lot of information that goes with that in terms of their health and their developmental milestones. And it's a lot for a family to try and take in. And, of course, children aren't born with instructions. So families do have to learn a little bit about how to support their children's development. And what we wanted to do is create a way that a family could actually have sort of a virtual conversation. So if they don't have access to an expert in child development, how can they start to guide their children's growth before the child is even born? And the development of this tool was created by, we put together a work group of child development experts, families, and other people that work with young children to really think about what are the most important things that families need to know and be able to do to help their child grow. And a lot of them are pretty simple things. It's just gathering all that information and making it possible that you can get a short tip that's easy to remember and just do in your daily life, but also be able to get really good, reliable information as detailed as you want to get. So what we ended up doing is taking all those priorities and boiling them down into 10 questions. And the questions are not right or wrong questions, so they're multiple choice, but they're a family thinks about their own situation. So what is important to them, what's going on in their lives, and they pick the answer that's closest to their own situation. And then based on that answer, they get a short video tip, no more than 2 minutes. They can also read the tip if they don't want to watch the video, and then links to reliable resources like the Office of Child Development and Early Learning. After they do that, then they can actually save what they like to their child's map.
It's terrific, everything that went into it and, how it works. And right off the get-go, I want to let the audience know that the website that you can access the Early Learning GPS is www.earlylearninggps. And, of course, there's also an app, which is free, that you can also download as well.
Yes. earlylearninggps.com.
Yeah, earlylearninggps.com. And how did the GPS for guiding parents smoothly, which I thought was very clever, how did that come about?
So as we were thinking about what this tool does and what the app will do, is it's a way to guide you. So it's not telling you what to do. And when we actually tested the Early Learning GPS with families, they felt that it helped reinforce what they were already doing. It didn't make them feel bad about what they were doing for their child, but it gave them a sense of where they can go. And so we were trying to think of something that was clever that gave you the sense of this will help you set a map for your child, and GPS came up. As you go through, so once you register, and it's all free, you register, you create a family account, and we encourage families mom, dad, aunts and uncles to create one account if they're going to talk about the same child. And then you create a map for each child. So as you go through, if you have a baby, a toddler, or a preschooler, you're actually going to get different information because they're at different developmental stages. And so it's customized for that particular child. And we call it a map because you'll be able to save all these tips, come back to them later, but you can also follow your child's milestones as you're in there. And we give you a guideline, and you can put notes in it and that sort of thing. You can save activities that will help your child build skills that are particular to that child. And from birth to age 6, you'll be able to use this map. You can download photos. You can save photos like an online scrapbook. You can also, if you're looking for a child care program or an early learning program for your child, you can actually compare programs within the app. And all of this would stay, as long as the GPS is live, you would have this online scrapbook of your child.
What types of questions are asked families when they visit earlylearninggps.com, and how do these questions, or do they give an adequate profile of the family and of the child?
That's a great question. So they're broken down into 4 sections. You and your child's development, your child's brain, and when your child is not with you. So some of the questions, the most popular questions, are under your child's development. And one of the questions is, I expect my child, once my child turns 1 year old, I expect him or her to. And then it gives you a list of things you would expect your child to do. So you would, the point of that question is not necessarily that you have to know the right answer, but it gives you tips on how to find the developmental milestones. And it helps parents say, maybe I have expectations that are a little bit further along than my child's development, or maybe I have some concerns about my child's development, and where do I go for help? Another question is, during your daily life, when you're doing your regular routines and your chores, how do you involve your child? So there are questions in there, there are answers that would talk about, I involve my child in my daily activities, my child is separate, playing with toys on their own, and a couple other answers in there. And so you would pick the one that what you do with your child. And what you would find out through that answer is ways that you can actually, when you go to the grocery store, if your child is with you, you can actually make the grocery store trip a learning opportunity, and how you can point out colors and numbers and shapes and interacting with other people, so that your child is always learning, and it's not that you have to set aside special time to help your child grow. You can make it part of your daily life.
One of the things I wanted to ask you, Kelly, because, there may be some parents listening that wondering, well, I have to register for this, and I'm going to enter all of this information onto an online database. They may be somewhat concerned about who's going to see it and the security aspect of it. Can you speak a little bit to that, to how it's not going to be information that's going to be necessarily shared with others?
Sure. So when you register, you are asked to put in an email and a password. You can put in your first name, last name, and then you're asked to select your county. That's to help you use the GPS, because once you start searching for local resources, you can filter by your county. All that information is encrypted and confidential. So whatever you put in your child's map, you put in your child's first name. You can put in the child's birth date, but if that makes you uncomfortable, you can just put in the first day of the month. And what that does is help trigger that you get the information for your child's age. So as your child grows and becomes a toddler and a preschooler, you get different information out of the GPS. None of this information is ever going to be sold. Your email address will never be given to anyone. The only thing that we on the administrators of the tool will look at is aggregate information. So we may look at how many users there are per county, but we won't be going into your map. We will look at, across all of our families that are participating, what are their most popular resources? And maybe we go and find more resources that are like that because people really like them. But we would never go in and look at your map specifically.
One of the things I even did as I helped promote the GPS is for those families who may not have been as familiar. I would talk to them about it, and then just as a follow-up, I would actually assist them in registering and also adding their children to the system, and then basically guide them and allow them to be on their own. But sometimes it takes that little extra push to get families involved. But I know that there was a lot of research that went into the planning, and there was a lot of feedback that was taken from parents and focus groups and so forth. So there was a lot of effort in a very positive way that really was going to make this thing a success. What have you found so far, Kelly, in terms of its use, in terms of numbers, and how successful it's been?
So we launched in April 2015, the web version, and then in November we released the apps. We have about 1,300 families and professionals that have signed up for accounts. I think we have about 8,000 people visiting it each month. So one of the things that we would encourage people to do is, if you have an account and you want to help someone else set up their account, it takes a little time to get familiar and go in and play with it and see what you like and don't like about it. And definitely let us know. There's many opportunities for feedback inside the tool. If you are a teacher or another professional that works with families, we actually have a 20-minute online demonstration to show you exactly how to sign up. That is on the Pennsylvania's Promise for Children website at papromiseforchildren.com/GPS. So there's a lot of tools there if you're helping families, and families can go take a look at that as well. But I would encourage people to go in. If you aren't ready to register yet, you can actually continue as guest. So there's a link on the front that says continue as guest, and you can do the questions, you can do the quiz. You just can't save anything. But if that's a way for you to get started, seeing if it's right for you, and then making an account, registering after that, that's a great way to get started.
I have a question regarding the map. The map is there to help parents track their child's progress. How does this work, and are these uniform milestones that are expected of all children? So are we looking at standard points of progress that would apply to all children? And if a parent is tracking this, is it an individual thing, or is it kind of a one-size-fits-all kind of measurement? I hope you understand what I'm asking.
No, that's a great question.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of both. The milestones are for typically developing children, and they were developed by Pennsylvania's Early Intervention Services. So when you go in, there's a tab, and they are broken out by what the typical development would be. So from infants and toddlers, I think it's every 3 to 6 months. But what the families can learn in the quiz is that all children follow the same path, but they follow at their own pace. So it is completely okay if your child does not meet a milestone in that short 3-month or 6-month frame. What this helps families do is actually see what would be typical, and then they can share this. There's also tips in the GPS. Share this with the child's doctor, the child's teacher, and talk about, should there be a concern if a child is a little bit behind on a milestone. The way children grow and develop is they will sprint ahead on one milestone. They may be a bit behind on another. Just like all of us, they're wonderful and they're a little bit messy, and they grow at their own pace. But this helps families see where the children are. There is also a link in there. Minnesota has a developmental milestones checklist that's much more detailed. So these are typical. There are lots of different milestones that are printed by different people that are pretty much the same, but the level of detail may be different.
And the other thing that the Early Learning GPS has done is for those who want to, there's loads of free printouts. You can order bookmarkers, you can order all types of flyers and different things, because sometimes, parents are busy, families are busy. It's a great way to help, promote the program, whether it's in doctors' offices or with other friends or colleagues. And great tools that are in these different promotional items that regardless of where you may happen to be. If you had a question, you may be able to resource that material. And those are accessible also online, aren't they, Kelly?
Yes, so we have, thanks to the Race to the Top funding, we have free bookmarks, posters, table tents. They are all at papromiseforchildren.com/GPS. And because this is an online tool, we also have Twitter posts and sample Facebook posts if you want to share it. In about a month, we're actually going to have the opportunity where if you are in the GPS and you see a resource that you really like, you can share that on your Facebook page so that your friends can see it as well. And then that will take them back into the GPS so they have the opportunity to register. So I really encourage you to use social media to help spread the word, and it makes it easy for people to sign up, grab the app, that sort of thing. But there's a lot of free resources available to promote it.
There's also an opportunity in sharing the GPS. There's an activity sheet for families, and they could share this activity sheet with the child's teacher and actually get activity points. So there's a list of all different types of activities, and depending upon where the child is, they get so many points earned. So it's kind of like a fun exercise as well, isn't it?
Sure. One thing that a community might want to do is assign a number of points for logging in and starting your account, for starting to add milestones to your child's map. And perhaps you say that everybody who gets 50 points gets put into a raffle, and you raffle off books or fun stuff. You can really make it a lot of fun that way. Those are also at papromiseforchildren.com/GPS. And they are customizable, so you can use what you want, use what you don't want, make it work for you.
As I understand it, the site also compares child care early learning programs. Is this done for a specific local area, and what factors would be taken into consideration in comparing these programs? Is it a simple grading system, or are there narratives for each program to explain each program in more detail?
So the choice of child care or early learning program is an individualized choice. It's a personal choice on what the family really needs. What we've done is given them some guiding questions on things to look for. So one example is asking if the child care program participates in Keystone Stars. So Keystone Stars is a quality rating system. Programs that participate can get 1 to 4 stars for quality. But there's a lot of other questions about how the teachers interact with the children. Do the children seem happy? Is your child comfortable there? And parents answer those questions after they visit a program, and then they can compare their answers across those programs. So it's a very individualized experience. We're just giving them some of those questions that are helpful to ask to help determine if it's the right program for them.
So this would be a checklist then after they have looked into a specific program.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. The GPS is just, I think it was very timely when it was developed because, more and more families are utilizing, online services, GPS. It's immediate. And this is just like a perfect opportunity to really provide guidance for parents in working with their children and checking their milestones and also making it a fun activity. It's a great thing for parents and their children to do together.
Oh, yeah. And I would encourage anyone who's expecting or thinking about expecting, while you have the time, to go in and start looking at it because it'll help you think about what you want to prepare for your child. There's hundreds and hundreds of hours of research put into this so that you can go in and you can spend 5 minutes there and get exactly what you want. That's one of our goals was we don't want people to feel like they have to dig and dig and dig for resources. This is almost like having an expert with you to get you what you need to make the choices that are right for your family.
One question I had, I know how when you register, Kelly, you can identify what county you're in, and that allows you to, get access to where you can get resources like locally, more specific resources. But is there a way that the system can actually have you connect possibly with other families that you may have found that, are in your same county that you can share some information with?
That is a great question, and that's a great suggestion. At this point, we do not have those kinds of forums, but that's something we could definitely look into.
Yeah, I think that would be a good something to look at in the future because, obviously there are parents with children the same ages and have the same concerns, and it really, is helpful, especially makes parents feel more comfortable if there's another person maybe in their same community that also has the same kind of issues or things they're dealing with their child, to be able to connect with them.
Absolutely.
What kind of usage are you getting on the earlylearninggps.com website, and how are you reaching out and promoting it to more potential users?
So we do get several thousand individuals each month visiting it. We have about 1,300 families registered, and we are reaching out through early childhood programs, libraries, schools, doctors' offices, so you may see those bookmarks and posters. We're also planning on doing some digital advertising in honor of Month of the Young Child. So as you are searching on Facebook or Google, you may start seeing some of our ads. But we really encourage families to share it with their friends and family. You can share it over Facebook. You can also share over Twitter, I believe. We have ways that you can share over email. So if you visit www.earlylearninggps.com, on the left column, you'll see there's ways that you can share that tool with your friends and family.
Good point. And the timeliness, actually April 1st, and the month of April is typically month of the young child. So you'll probably be hearing more and more about the Early Learning GPS specifically during this month, because it's a month where we focus on the child and all types of literacy activities with the child and parents. And we have community members who go out and read the PA1 book to children, whether it's at a child care center or it's at a library or any various community location. So I am sure that many of those locations will have information on the Early Learning GPS as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to being able to help promote the Early Learning GPS even more. And if we can close, Kelly, tell me if you can just kind of recall, what would be like the one comment that really stood out when you were getting feedback from parents on the success of the program? Is there any one comment that you heard that really stood out to you?
I think the one was, this helps me feel better about what I'm doing as a parent. That people felt that this was helping them, but also reinforced what they were doing was the right thing for their family.
Right. And that's so often important because, they need that confirmation. Parents need confirmation to know that what they're doing and how they're working with their child is actually, they're doing the right thing. And sometimes it takes hearing that from others in the same boat. So that's one of the things that the Early Learning GPS does, is provide that feedback.
Yeah, it's a helper. It's not a test. It just helps you do what you feel is right for your family.
Kelly, thank you so much for being on the program. I'm a big believer in the Early Learning GPS, and I think it's just done great things for families. So thank you for being on the program.
This was fun.
Yeah, it was. And we'll have you back again because there's so many things we can talk about. But thank you again.
Thanks.
And that's our program for today. We'll be back in 2 weeks at this same time. In the meantime, you can go online to learn more at papromiseforchildren.com. For John Poza and the Northwest Regional Key Program for Quality Early Learning, I'm Joe Taylor. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.